Good morning and welcome to What's New with Mike and Jeff, your Saturday morning hobby hangout coming to you live via the interwebs. I'm your host, Mike, and Jeff is not with us today. He is at his son's or his grandson's soccer game. So he may be tuning in remotely via his mobile device and chiming in at some point. But he's watching soccer today. So, anyways, good morning, Joe. How are you, buddy? So, hey, Tim, how are you? So, yeah, it's just me today, and we're gonna continue marching forward with Orktober, and I still have my Stompa. It's just fun to play with this. Um, that I'm working on. Good morning, Raymond. How are you? Uh, so yeah, Wednesday we weren't live. We didn't have a show. Um, Jeff had some stuff come up, so we canceled the show on Wednesday. But we are definitely I'm here today, and all I'm going to do is start working on my Stompa. I think today what I want to do is I want to get a little uncomfortable. And I know you, you guys know I do this to myself. I put myself in, I try new things and I'm going to try it live on the show. I'm sorry, I'm trying to get my mouse out of the way. But I think what I want to do today is I want to play around with some pigment powders and I want to rust up the smokestack. And do you have pics? No, Joe. I have no pictures. But you did some amazing work this week and posted some great pictures on Discord. So if anybody wants to see Joe's pictures, they can go over to Discord and check them out. But we will have them Wednesday night when the show comes back. All right, Joe. Well, enjoy your mid morning nap before you go to work. So, anyways, yeah, I'm gonna get a little uncomfortable today. I'm gonna try some experimentation with pigment powders. Try some different techniques. I've messed with pigment powders before. They're fun. They're neat. But I'm going to try some different things, mixing the pigment powders in with some paint to do some sponge on techniques. I got the pigment binder, so I'm going to use some of that. And I just want to kind of rust up the smokestack, get some soot onto the smokestack, and just see what happens. I've messed with, like I said, I've messed with them before. I've done things with them before. But I think this is going to be one of those things. I just want to experiment with it, see what happens. And worst case scenario, it goes sideways and it doesn't work. One of the great things about miniature painting is I can always paint back over it and start all over again. It's not done in such a way that I can't fix the mistakes that I make. So with that being said, I think I'm just gonna kind of jump into it and start working on this. This model's a beast. It's so big and gangly. Um, just trying to work on it can be quite the challenge in itself. So I'm gonna go ahead and I gotta cover up my camera so I can get my lights on and not blind everybody because my lights are blinding when I turn them on because the camera picks up all the white light and makes it quite a bit of work. Good morning, Lenny. How are you, buddy? Tonight is the return of Call of Cthulhu on Black Acid. So if you want to watch some action role playing with Lenny and his crew, they will be doing that tonight. All right, so what we're going to start with is soon as I can find my paint. I finished the latest. Oh, everything's jumping. Siege of Terra, I'll say is wow. Well, that sounds like you were impressed by it, Raymond. So that probably that says a lot. All right, so boy, I got paint dropping all over the place. So I'm going to start with my sponge painting. Got two different colors here. I got my burnt sienna, my burnt orange. So these are good, just rusty kind of colors. But then what I want to add into them, and I'm just going to sprinkle some pigment powders into them. And what I'm trying to create is just some other discoloration to the pigments, to the powder, and all those good things. So, and I'm going to do a couple different techniques on this smokestack. Like I got this armor plate right here. I want to make this all rusted up and like it's just a piece of scrap metal that was put there. I also got one there. So I want to make those look like they were just rusty scraps of metal that they found on the ground, and maybe the metal was already kind of decayed. I'm trying not to break my model. So I want to do that. And then I just want to add some little rust spots and just different things. So total experimentation with what I'm doing here. And I'm just going to use a simple sponge. This is like an artist sponge. I don't know. I get it in the art aisle at Hobby Lobby. I don't know if it's actually an artist sponge, but it's just a very porous sponge, which is kind of what I like to use when I'm doing my sponge painting because it's just gives more texture to the paint. I guess the question, Lenny, is are you going to have long hair as a vampire this week on Call of Cthulhu? Or are you going back to your doctor character? Inquiring minds want to know. I guess we'll just have to tune in and find out. So the first layer is just going to be the burnt sienna. And I'm just going to try wig is for vampire. And what I want to do is just get a base coat down on the piece of scrap metal. I'm not going to get really, really heavy with it. I'm just trying to create, basically, I'm trying to create like tone. You know, I'm going to layer on some different colors to create a tone for the piece of metal. So you can kind of see, the light's a little bright, but you can kind of start seeing just a little bit of a reddish tone is starting to emerge onto just the plate, which is not the easiest thing to do. And I'm just trying to get a little bit of tone on it just to make it look a little rustier. It's okay if some of the silver still peeks through. You did an amazing job. I really dig the weathering on the yellow. Yellow's yeah. Yellow's not a friendly color to paint, is it? And thank you very much. Yeah, this again, this was years in the making. I think I used a lot of if I'm not mistaken, I used oil paint on the base weathering on that model on the yellow. Because I believe it or not, oil paints weather beautifully. Because you can sit there and blend them and blend them and blend them until you get the tones and colors that you're looking for. All right, so now we're going to create a lighter shade on top of this. So I got a dark base down, and then I'm going to go over it with a lighter shade, which this is going to just be the burnt orange. But what I want to do is I want to sprinkle in a little bit of this old rust from Vallejo's pigments. And I'm just going to sprinkle in a little bit into the actual paint. I just want to see what's going to happen with this because my hope in one hand, see what happens. My hope is that the pigments is going to mix in with the paint, but when it dries, it will have its own like color tone or texture to it. So it doesn't just look like it'll just add that extra color to it. That's my hope. And that's kind of what we're getting right there. It's just like a rusty piece of metal that they kind of slapped on. And really, I'm just trying to get some more color because all of this. Oh, I have never tried oil, but I heard it's awesome. Good. Oh, for black lining, it's awesome. I heard it works really well because you can knead it up and use the pigments. Either try it. Yeah, oil paint for black line. That's all the Tamiya stuff is. The panel liner stuff. It's just like an oil paint. So it works out good. But yeah, this is what we're trying to create here. And then what I'll probably end up doing is creating like a rust streak coming down from that. But that's kind of what I'm creating. It's just like a patch job. Again, my silver is very streaky on all that metal because again, it's an exhaust pipe. It's not supposed to be perfect in any way, shape, or form. Now I'm going to try to get in there and get that little one that's back in the back there. This one is going to require a different technique. Because I got my sponge and it's a little too big for me to be getting that sponge in there. So what I'm going to do is just use the cotton ball tip and I'll just do my darndest to just keep it a little bit more sporadic and try to see if I can get this a little bit better. I think the cotton ball, unfortunately, is absorbing a lot of the paint. And I'm sure once it's dry, it's going to look a lot different. I think it's looking great. All right. So I got a good base color down. And now we're just going to lighten that up a little bit. Good morning, David. How are you, buddy? So yesterday I got a chance to hang out with my buddy Jason, and I also got to hang out with two of my buddies yesterday. But my buddy Jason, I got a game of Star Wars Legion in. He kind of we kind of ran through the, it's like learning a new game. We spent a lot of time in the rules going, that doesn't make sense. What are we talking about here? But I'm kind of digging the models for Star Wars Legion, the plastic ones. I play the Separatist, and I'm kind of digging the models because I can use those models for a lot of generic sci-fi games because they're just generic, they're sci-fi models, so they kind of work for anything. Because I'm also looking at playing a couple other games that don't like Stargrave, which doesn't have any miniature specific things. And that's what I'm kind of digging right now. Lenny, you did Han Solo. Yeah, they're really nice sculpts. Good detail. The plastic kits are coming out a lot better than the original stuff, which was kind of that rubbery plastic. So I'm kind of digging that. All right, so this one's kind of dry, and you can kind of see the effect I'm creating here. I might tap a little bit of lighter rust even on top of that, but I think for what I'm trying to create, that's going to work. And all I wanted was a kind of patchy, like a hole got blown through that part of it, and they just found a piece of scrap metal on the ground and slapped it on. Like that's the look I'm trying to create. Kind of, I guess post-apocalyptic. We're just making stuff work here. Nothing is perfect in this world. So that's what I was trying to do with that patchwork. So now what I want to try to do is, we all kind of drive around the city and we see a lot of rusty stuff. If we look, I want to kind of create rust streaks coming down from the piece itself. And this is where we're going to experiment a little bit more, because what I want to try to use is the pigment binder. And I just want to grab a little bit of because the rust would be darker. It would be like a really dark rust. So I've got this iron oxide, which is kind of a darker rust. And I want to just mix up and make kind of just like a wash out of it, because I don't want it to be a paint. I don't want to paint it on. I'm trying to create like surface rust or streaking effects. So this is, for me, this is all experimental. I would love to like figure out a way of like creating real surface. That's kind of annoying. Real surface rust, just a thin layer. I guess I could probably do that with glazing. I could glaze on like really thin streaks, but I want to play with pigment powders today. So let's see how this goes. And all this looks like, the white's hard to see because the camera's picking up all the white light. It just looks like watered down Elmer's glue. This doesn't look like anything too terribly special, but I'm sure there's other things in it. It could just be watered down paint medium, which would actually make a little bit of sense if that's all it was. So we'll see. Yeah, yesterday actually, after playing, I went and picked up what is his name? Darth Maul. Darth Maul. I think he's gonna be fun to paint. Neat character. Because I went up against Darth Vader and got my backside handed to me. Darth Vader is nasty in Star Wars Legions. So if you ever face him, stay away from him. He is a nasty character in the game. But he should be, let's face it, it's Darth Vader. He shouldn't be a simple character to beat in the game. All right. Ooh, look at that. So I kind of created like a wash or and all I want to do is just kind of streak down. Probably need to hold it more straight. Check Sorcerer's painting Mike. He does a whole series on painting Star Wars Legion. All right. I'll give that a check out. So one of the things with streaks that can be challenging is you're trying to get the tip to be thin and then the base to be thick. And as you saw, I was going the opposite way. I should probably start out at the base or at the very tip and work up, creating more of that streak effect. And the thing is, you can always just kind of clean up, wipe it up to create more of that streak. I don't know a good way of doing this, but I would think going the opposite way would probably be the best way to do it, because your brush is naturally going to flay out. And if you do make a mistake, you can just kind of wipe up and voila, you just kind of created a streak. Again, I don't know how this is showing up on cameras, guys. So This model is big, it's gangly, but it is impressive on the table. So, like here, this bullet. You know what? I'm gonna try a different brush. Maybe a different brush might help. Let's go with just a smaller brush. Let's see what we can create here. Because here, the tip is important. There's a bullet hole there. Let's just create a little bit of a rust streak going down. And then going just a little bit across. Just kind of like I guess nature. I don't know. It's a sci-fi world. I don't know what the environments are going to be like, but I would assume rust, water is going to create all that effect. And again, we're just trying to create a little bit of interest. Like we're just trying to create a little bit of interest, a little bit of an effect, and just kind of breaking up the colors a little bit. Get a little bit more. Just so that it's just not all silver. I don't mind the silver. The silver doesn't bother me. But I'm just trying to create a little bit better look. Like this is a weld seam, so if I put it on heavy, kind of give it a little bit of a wipe off, it kind of creates a little bit of that rust. Don't be afraid to use your fingers in painting. I do it all the time, unfortunately. But you can always wipe stuff off with your finger. Again, this binding agent, I don't know what it is. But it creates a cool little effect. Again, we're just trying to get some color on it, break up that silver a little bit. Unfortunately, my camera is not really picking up a lot of this. And I'm just keeping this, I'm just mixing a little bit of water in with this pigment powder. I'm just trying to get a little bit of rust on that seam. And if it gets over on, like, to be honest with you, if I just splotched on some right there, and just ran it down, it's not really going to harm it. It's toning the color a little bit, the silver. It's just kind of creating a rusty effect. At the end of the day, that's all I'm really after is a rusty effect. So since I kind of did that there, let's just do a little bit here. Kind of wipe most of that off. It happens. Again, I'm just trying to experiment to see how this works and see what the effect is afterwards. Good morning, Adam. How are you, buddy? All right. Oh, hey, I had another patch right there. Oh, boy. Hey, that one actually shows up good on camera, so you guys might actually get to see this one paint up. So patchwork is fun. And then what I'm going to do up top, is I'm just going to go with dry pigment, and I'm going to try to create a soot look on all of that stuff. Make it look kind of sooty, like a chimney stack type look. And we're just going to keep adding stuff in. But this model, man, I think I'm really close to just calling. Not, it's never going to be finished. We already know that. But I think I may abandon it soon and just wrap it up, put it on the shelf, and move on to something else. Now, I don't quite know what the something else is going to be yet. I don't know if I want to start my Squig Orcs. I'll probably go back and finish my Fantasy Orcs after this. I've got that unit of 10 Fantasy Orcs that I started for Warlords of Erewhon. And I'm probably just going to go back and finish those. Because that should give me a pretty decent starting army for that game. And then maybe get a few games in, check it out. And then move on from there. Maybe at that point I'll be ready to tackle the new Squig Orcs. All right, so again, don't want consistency with Rust. And for me, this is hard because everything's supposed to be consistent. Bushes are supposed to be square and straight and level and even, not free-flowing, crazy bushes thrown all over the place. All right. So, Mike, you happen to see the paint job I did on? Yes, I did, Raymond. And it looks amazing. Actually, the Necron stuff you're doing looks great. Necrons. Maybe that's why I did the Separatist army, because I do like my Necrons that I painted. And I do like the Necron army. That's probably why I jumped on the Separatists, because they're kind of Necronish. Again, I'm just trying to get a little bit of rust on what I'm calling the weld seams. Raymond, when you guys got your cactus or so your event coming up soon, don't you? Like the primer to the Scorched Earth. It's like cactus something or saguaro something. Isn't that coming up soon? So you can kind of see what I've accomplished there. And what I think I'm going to do is just add a little bit of darker. What are you going to sit, buddy? And this is like herding cats. Ocotillo Onslaught, November 6th and 7th for both 40K and Age of Sigmar. Yeah, so that's like right around the corner, you guys. And this is going to be at the Glendale Convention Center. So if any of you guys are interested in it, if you want to get your weekend of tournament play, you may want to go check that out. It should be a fun event. All right. So we've added some rust. Let me look around, see what else I got going on. When you do paint with your fingers, you got to remember to keep your fingers clean before touching your model. Luckily, if I touch this model and get smudges of paint on it, it's really not that bad. It kind of works out. So I'm not happy with that. So I like my streaks to be a little thinner. So I just, you guys didn't see anything I just did. I had a big blotchy streak, and I just kind of took half of it off. So I think I'm good. So I could add some color to this container, this whatever. And we have good spacing, so tables will allow for ample COVID space. Well, that's cool, and not necessarily just for COVID spacing, just so you have space to put all your cool stuff. But yeah, got all the love that Stompa. So Jeff is tuned in. Hey, buddy, how are you? How's the game going? Yo. Yeah, Jeff, we're just doing some rust work on the smokestack, just trying to create some interest and some color. That's kind of what we do. And we're using pigment powders. So we're having some fun with pigment powders today. You're missing all the fun pigment powder. We are hoping to grow things to the point it's almost like a small convention. Just watching soccer and live stream. Jeff is multitasking. Yeah, Raymond. That well, you guys are also teamed up with for the actual Scorched Earth, which is the pinnacle of Arizona's 40K tournament scene. You guys teamed up with the what is that? Arizona Game Fair, which is going to take place in March, over in the Mesa Convention Center. So, and that's going to be another good one. But yes, having some little mini conventions would be fun. I will run some Gasland stuff. I'm trying to figure out a Gasland game that like we can get people to come in like a group game where we have like 10 people just playing one game. I don't think Gaslands lends itself well to being a tournament style game, in the sense that like two people team off and go and play, and we do like a, just like what you're going to do with Scorched Earth. I don't know. I think we miss out on a lot because Gaslands is so cinematic when you're playing it, that I think you miss out on certain things. So that's why I want to create some sort of a group game where people show up, maybe like a team thing where there's a team of, two guys show up, whoever, people show up in teams, and they just play, and then we just kind of see what happens. I don't know. I'm toying around with some ideas. I think about these things. So what I'm going to do now is I've got this. This is from Model Railroading, and this is like a soot. It's not like black. It's kind of a grayish black, which would be soot. And I'm just going to put this stuff on raw. I'm not going to use any kind of pigment powders or anything like that. And what I'm going to do is just brush it on and kind of brush it up and see what happens. And the advantage of doing it this way is if I don't like it, I just wipe it right off. But all I'm trying to do is just create, soot. And it doesn't have to, and then when I'm done, I will fix it by using clear coat. You can see how it's just dusting off. But I want this to be completely, I want it to be messy. I don't want it to look pretty. And I don't know how this is going to work, so... Because I think when I used it on Model Railroads, I used to use it in fixing powder or liquid. But what I'm trying to do is just make a mess of my desk. And I'm just trying to create a soot effect on the top where, obviously smoke would be coming out. It's okay if some of the edges are silver. So as you can see, that's what I'm kind of creating, is that kind of soot look. The challenge will be is what's going to happen when I clear coat it, when I shoot it with my oh boy, hold on a second. I don't want to blow this soot towards my man, that's some good soot. Look at that. I guess the question is going to be is what's going to happen when I hit it with my clear coat. Sorry, I'm going to clean my hands real fast, you guys and gals. This stuff is kind of messy. I think I should probably lay down some paper towels. So that's what we're trying to create. Hopefully you can all see that. Let's see if zooming in makes it any better. Nah, lighting's just not my friend today. That's what we're looking at going for. So, let's see here. This might help. So all I'm doing is it's just a flat chisel brush. Just dipping it in the pigment powder, which I think all they did was ground down chalk. Believe it or not, that's all a lot of the pigment powders, like the old school stuff. It's just ground chalk, like pastel chalks. People have just ground down and made into pigment powders. I'm sure the stuff we get from the Vallejo and stuff, they may have some other components added in just to adhere better or to respond better to the affixer that they offer. But scale modeling, they've been using just pastels for a long time. So you look at that soot. That is so much better up top there. Just adding this really nice, just filthy look. And it's an orc model, so filth is my friend. I think we'll do this tube here. Here, I'm just literally just gonna, and here I'm gonna get a little bit all over the place. Simply because, it would be coming up the sides, so it would make a mess right here. So let's see how this works. Again, this is experimentation for me. So I'm just getting a little bit of this soot right there and just kind of creating a mess. That's really all I'm creating right now, you guys, is a mess. I'm making a mess of things. So let's see. And now what we'll do is, again, if I get someplace, it's just who cares? This is the fun. This is almost like finger painting for me. I'm trying to keep it off the main model. I'm trying to focus my soot work to the to the smokestack. So that's what we're creating. Just getting some soot on there. And I don't know how, like I said, I don't know how this is going to respond when I clear coat it. It should be okay. Like, I'm going to do it from a distance so that the clear coat doesn't like hit it hard. Like, I'm not going to spray it from like way up close so that it just pushes it off. I'm going to do it from a distance, and I'm just going to spray it so it lightly comes down, cascades down onto the soot. So hopefully that stays. And if it adheres and it fixes and everything's good, then yay. I've got another tool in the toolbox here to add some soot effect to my models. And I just want to, this is fun. It's messy. I'm not going to lie there. This is like super messy. But if it works, this is going to be awesome. I think that would be kind of where I would end any work on that. I don't know if you guys can really see that. It just depends on how big of a TV screen you're watching on. Jeff's probably watching on his cell phone, so he probably can't see it at all. But that's what we're looking at. So let me clean up this mess. So I'm not going to lie. What I did was messy. I mean, super, super messy. Now, they also make these pigment powders in rust colors. Hold on. I really wasn't expecting this big of a mess. I probably should have been better prepared that it would be this messy. But you guys know me. So let me clean my brush off. And then let's look a little bit closer at the work that I just did. Yeah. I think that turned out great. Looks good to make the binder that will hold. Yeah, I know, AK. I was messing with the binder earlier, Don. I have the pigment binder from AK. The black soot, though, is a model railroad product that I had. I think it's just ground pigment, like pastel chalk stuff. And oh, that came out. You can really see it now. I'm just going to see if when I'm done, if I hit it with a clear coat, if that clear coat will just bind it in place. It's more of an experiment. It should hold it. Like if I do it, if I'm careful with the spraying of it. But then we added some rust effects and some streaking on the patchwork. I got to do something with that box. I think that box needs to be painted a different color. I don't know. That may need to get a shot of some color, maybe a little something. So anyways, that's kind of where we're at with this project. He's falling all over the place. So I think that soot really helps just break up that silver. So it's just not silver. I think it helps create a different look. And then I added some rust just to give it some color. But I think I'm just kind of at a really good spot with this model. I'm really happy with it. I still want to clean up this orange. I'm not happy with at all. So I need to clean that up a little bit more. But everything else, I'm kind of at a good spot. I definitely want to clean up these. I guess we'll call them shocks, but they're probably hydraulic rams. So I'm just going to put a fresh coat of thin down. I use the red leather. Just going to thin it down and just get a fresh coat on that. Just to kind of, because the sun would beat down on it, and just to create kind of a look. I got pigment powder all over my room. Oh boy, that stuff is messy. So we're just going to thin down some red leather. I'm just kind of not looking to do anything particular. Just trying to clean up a little bit. Kind of create some tone, and I use that a lot. I know that's my thing. Just let it dry. Just kind of make it look like it's a little beat up, kind of like the gas can. Gas can, like I went really bright on the top of the gas cans, just to kind of reflect they're kind of locked in place. So it kind of went really bright right up at the top, but everything else here is all grungy and grimy, probably from the guns shooting at them and things like that. This model is hard to work with. So, yeah, that's all we're trying to create there is just a little bit of, take some of the black washing out. So I'm kind of at this really weird standstill on him or her. We haven't, let's look. Oh, to her. I'm at a standstill with her. I don't know what the next step's going to be for this model. I can clean up the silver a little bit, do some dry brushing. I could brighten up some of the stuff here and there, but to be honest, I'm kind of happy with it. I don't know. What do you guys think? I guess I could add some rust up in here, like the metal was cut, was kind of cut up and I don't know, chopped up, but I kind of like how that all looks up there. I don't necessarily think I need to do anything up there. I don't know. Now, look, we can clean up some of the copper. Call it done, buddy. Looks amazing. I think it kicks out. Oh, black flames for yes. I could do a little bit of the black flame work. I went checkers. I definitely went checkers. I could maybe do some black flames right here, or maybe just do like a badge right here. Just do some black flames right there, just to represent. Yeah, I'm just kind of at this weird spot. Like, I'm sure there's more I can do. I definitely don't want to touch the smokestack. I just want to leave that alone until I take it outside and spray it with some clear coat and just see if it fixes everything, and just kind of leave that alone. But I just don't have a lot more to do on it. Like, I'm just kind of at this weird spot with it. Again, this is like something Jeff and I talk about all the time. We're really, you totally don't have to. Well, thanks, Lenny. Jeff and I have talked about this before. We're really never finished with a model. We just kind of abandon it. And we just kind of move on from there to another project. And we can always come back and work on it again. So, clean those up a little bit just to make them kind of pop out. Do I have any other kind of coppery brass colors? Yeah, got a few things. But yeah, that's just, part of the hobby is you can only go so long on these projects. There's always something else. There's always something else you could be doing. But there's no need to, if you're happy with it, just call it good. So I think what I need to do is I need to get it out, get it clear coated. Kind of see where everything's at, and maybe since it's still Orktober, I can still work on other Orky projects. Just because this one took me, 3 years to finish doesn't mean I have to wait 3 years to finish other Ork projects. I can do lots of different things while I let this sit. I think at the early onset of this, we talked about if I did finish it early, I would work on this bad boy. So this is a total conversion chop job trike looking motorcycle that I created. So it's a Sentinel, basically the body, the head or the chassis of a Sentinel without the legs. It's the back wheels of an old truck, the old Ork truck with the engine and stuff like that. And then obviously I just chopped up the front suspension off of one of the Ork bikes, made it a chopper, added a Killy chainsaw thing. Don't necessarily have any guns added to it. So I probably need to take a look at the rules and see what kind of weapons a bike is supposed to have. But yeah, I could just leave it the way it is and just paint it, because I think it looks kind of cool the way it is. It'll just be a fun little project to paint up. Kind of dig the Orks. So that's something I might get finally finished. But I think for the most part, I'm just going to clear coat this guy or gal and kind of wrap it up. I think this is what I was looking for when I started this. Again, I still need to figure out what to do about this orange. I don't like it. I may just have to do a couple more thin coats on top of the orange just to clean it up a little bit. I don't think the missiles on an Ork model should necessarily be weathered and worn, because they're going to constantly be replacing them because they constantly shoot them. So I don't think those necessarily need to be weathered and worn. And this missile, this orange, this big fat one, actually has a pistol on top of it, which is just hilarious. I'm sure the pistol is just in the casing that holds the missile. I don't know. Or the whole thing launches off and it's Ork logic. Who knows? So it's shooting at you as it's flying towards you. So, all right, you guys. Well, I'm going to switch cameras here because I really don't have anything else prepped for today. And my father-in-law is actually outside. He just drove down from Paulden. We're going to hang out today. So I'm going to spend some time with family today. But yeah, I got a good hour in on it. I'm happy with where everything's at with it. I'm going to get it all kind of clear coated, hopefully. Yes, I got a brand new can of clear coat. So I'm going to get it all clear coated and just kind of see where everything lands after it's clear coated, see how everything looks. And maybe once I've got the clear coat on, because there's little shiny spots and things like that. So maybe once it's all, clear coated and matted down, I'll have a better idea of where it stands. And then I can make decisions on what needs to be improved on before I officially call it done. But I think for right now, I'm at a good stopping point. So Thank you all very much for hanging out with me today and enjoying. Oh my gosh, this stuff is still on my desk making a mess. Oh, this stuff is messy. I'll probably be cleaning my desk for like the next week. No pics and no short and show. I want my money back. Joe, I will gladly refund your money. You'll have to first pay me though. Before I can refund you any money. It's not a shortened show. I can sit here and ramble. I have no problem. If you got something you want to talk about, Joe, just bring it up. I'll be more than happy to talk. I just don't think you guys want to sit here and see me just staring at my model endlessly for the next 30 minutes. Uh, but I have family, so I want to hang out with my fam. And we're going to go. There's a craft show thing we're going to. Then we're going to hit the I'm not refunding you that money. That has nothing to do with this show. And then we're going to go hit a farmer's market and go get some fruits and vegetables. Gaslands game yesterday. Oh, yes. Tim and I played. I'm calling it Advanced Gaslands because Tim made this awesome board, which is it's a crazy condensed track. And it requires a lot of thinking to maneuver, and you're plotting out like multiple moves ahead, knowing which templates you're going to have to do. And it was just a lot of fun. Tim ran nothing but motorcycles. He wanted to see it's something we've talked about, and we just kind of wanted to see how an all motorcycle team would work in Gaslands. And it did good. Motorcycles don't last long. They don't have a lot of haul points. So they get blown up quick, but because he had multiple of them, and you can still equip them with pretty significant weapons. And he went ahead and gave them all grenades and basically made them bombs. So when he's riding his motorcycles, it, gets you in a situation where you hit them, you smash them, and you blow them up, and then they do damage to everything around them. So it could create a chain reaction of explosions, of things just blowing up. So it was a lot of fun. Again, I still Gaslands is my favorite game. I really enjoy playing the game. It's a blast, and it creates a lot of each game. Like I always walk away from a game where something memorable happens, like car wrecks, flips, blows up, slides, you spin, you just do fun stuff. And it's just because of the way the mechanics are written, it allows for that kind of gameplay. But yes, Gaslands was a blast, and I'm actually working on creating 1/32nd scale Gaslands cars, so twice the size of Hot Wheels. And the reason I want to create those is I want to create kind of a like if I go to a convention or if I'm at the shop and I'm doing kind of like a demo situation, I want people to be able to see the cars from a distance, like as they're walking by or they're across the room and they see like cool, apocalyptic type cars. I want them to be able to see from a distance, so that way it can helpfully draw them into what are you guys doing here? Instead of us playing with Matchbox, because a Matchbox are kind of small. There are some challenges converting 1/32nd over into Gaslands. There's not like a weapons for like you can get 1/35th scale military model stuff and use that, which is pretty much what I'm doing. But there's not a lot of different like weapons stuff out there. You pretty much end up buying a tank and taking weapons out of it. You can get a lot of small hand weapons like rifles and pistols and 50 cals and stuff like that, bazookas. But there's not a lot of other stuff. And GI Joe weapons, isn't GI Joe a little bigger? Like, well, I guess it depends on which GI Joe you're talking about. Because I know they made smaller GI Joes. I just don't know if they were 1/35th or 1/32nd scale. But yeah, I guess I could look in the toy aisle and see if I can find smaller toys and use some of those weapons. But I'm happy with the, again, I'm going for more of a post-apocalyptic style feel for the game. So I'm thinking this is like the government collapsed or is in the process of collapsing, and we all strapped guns onto our vehicles and we're trying to get out of town. I'm going for more of that zombie apocalypse. Like the zombie apocalypse is just happening and everybody's leaving town, and they went by their. Couldn't you just upscale? I could just upscale an STL file and 3D print it, and I could talk to David about doing that, creating me some weapons. They basically just double it because 1/32 is twice the size of 1/64 scale Hot Wheels. So yes, they could do that. I don't own a 3D printer. I've wait, nope, I'm not getting into 3D printing because that's just a whole nother hobby that will suck more time out of my life that I don't have a lot of time to spare doing the hobbies that I have, let alone trying to take on new hobbies. So anyways, but I'm trying to go for more of that post-apocalyptic type situation, where the government is in the process of collapsing, or the zombies are just rising up, and people are trying to get out of town. So we're just grabbing what guns we have, and we're going into our vehicles, and we're just sticking them out the windows type stuff. So that's kind of where I'm going with the feel for the game. And also, there's not a lot of something just crashed. There's not a lot of 1/32 scale cars readily available. Like you can go to Targets and Walmarts and stuff, and they do sell 1/32 scale cars. There's just not a lot of variety. It's not like Hot Wheels or Matchbox or any of the 1/64 scale where they have 100 different cars to look at. You've got 5, and most of them are really modern cars. You need to copyright that term pre post apocalyptic I do. That is my pre post apocalyptic. That's a new term we're going to create. So this is yes, I am going to coin that. But yeah, there's not a lot out there. So, but I'm just trying to create a demo board. And I did. So this is the first vehicle I'm working with. It's kind of a cool old truck. I already did a wheel swap. So I found a Jeep Renegade type, like modern Jeep that had these cool wheels on it. So I did a wheel swap. And I'm also creating a bed for the back of the truck because it had like a tonneau cover that just covered the top of it. And I didn't like it because I've got some 55-gallon drums and things like that I want to put inside of it. So I'm creating a bed. Then I'm going to do the screen mesh on the windows, and I'm going to do some armor plating up front. A 74 Ford is mandatory. If I find one, I'll do a Ford Falcon. I have them in Hot Wheels. So anyway, so this is the stuff. And again, this isn't trying to use all the rules of Gaslands. This is me just trying to create I have another term I've coined. It's called convention gaming. Convention gaming is if you ever go to Adepticon or Arizona Game Fair or I don't even remember a Las Vegas Open or anything. Like people host these really cool games and they're spectacle games. That truck cries out for it does. I think I might do that. Like just right out the sides, just like make a smiley face. But when you go to convention gaming, they're upscaled games. They're larger than life. They're simple, easy, fun games. But you know, like at Adepticon, they get the Titan models, the big 40K Titan models, and they play Adeptus Titanicus basically with Forge World models, and they have buildings, and it's a spectacle of a game, and it really draws people in. And people walking by go, "What is that? What are they doing?" And you see it, and that's kind of what I'm trying to create here. So, like, if I go to Las Vegas Open in January, and if I have my cars done, I can set up a small board on the table and we can be pushing this around. And as people just walk by, they're like, "Hey, what are you guys doing?" And hey, we're playing Gaslands. This is, you know, and I can take that term that I coined there, pre-post apocalyptic. And we can just, hey, this is what we're playing. We're just having a good time. That's kind of what I'm trying to create. And I'm doing it because I demo the game a lot at the local stores. and sometimes people walk by, they don't even notice what we're doing. So obviously, some people look, they're like, "Oh, what are you doing?" And they see and they get excited about it. But I'm trying to create more of that draw. So people that might be sitting 2 tables over will see the cool cars, kind of see what we're doing. What I also need to do is I need to double the size of the movement templates. And this is going to put the game on more of a 4x8 table for playing, which I think will be cool. And maybe this might be kind of how I create that kind of tournament vibe, where maybe everyone just goes out and finds themselves a 132nd car and just build one car and just bring it, and we'll just play like a demolition, like a Gaslands demolition derby, shoot 'em up, smash 'em up kind of a game, where you got a car, it's got 30 cans of build out on it, and just go to town. I don't know. Haven't figured all the details out. I'm still trying to. I guarantee people. No, I'm not going to cosplay anything. I'm going to cosplay Mike, and I'm just gonna. That's it. That's just Mike with a cool mustache. Maybe I'll cosplay Tom Selleck. I'm up to that. I got the mustache for it. So, so anyways, yes, Gaslands still my all-time favorite game. I played Star Wars Legions yesterday. That was a fun game. It's a neat game. Love the mechanics. It's not as overwhelming as my first demo of the game, but I think my first demo of the game, it was just because it was my first demo of the game when it first came out, and I think everybody was kind of learning the rules. So anyways, yeah, that's kind of what I had. So yeah, prepare the meal. I'm actually going to get this finished up eventually. And I think Tim and I are going to do a build challenge next month for November. So if any of you guys are interested, if anyone watching is interested, we're going to do a build challenge next month where we're both going to build up. I'm not going to use this car. I've got Don's car from Fast and Furious, which is kind of already kind of Gasland-ish. With this cool engine thing, and the windows are all armor plated, and it's got flared fenders. So we're going to kind of do a build challenge with those cars just to have a little bit of fun. If you want to join in, they make a lot of different Fast and the Furious cars in this scale, this 132nd scale that you can find. Just make sure it's 132nd scale. You don't need guns when you got family. That's true. Family will take care of it for you. But if you want to join in, feel free. We'll post some pictures up on the Discord channel when we get started. And no Thanksgiving. I don't know. We haven't talked about that. But what this kind of a build challenge doesn't necessarily get done on stream. This is what I do off stream stuff. So I don't, so we can still do a Thanksgiving. If you guys want to do a Thanksgiving, I love that. Let me know, let Jeff know. We can probably arrange something. I could, we'll do Thanksgiving. Because I could pull out a project I started years ago where for my orc army, I took 2 Land Raiders and basically made one fat Land Raider out of it. So I cut like the side tracks off of each one and made one Land Raider out of it. So I could pull that out and get to work on that project. That's another one of those projects that I started years ago, and back when orcs had looted vehicle rules or looted tank rules, and we had cool stuff before they morphed into creating their own battle wagons and things. And I'll probably just run it as a modern day battle wagon, but I think that would be another nice centerpiece for my orc army. Or I could just make it kind of a stationary headquarters piece, like a train piece with guns. Gotta love that, where it doesn't necessarily move around, but it's just like a headquarters, like a command vehicle, where it just stays and just have some fun with it. But yeah, maybe we'll do that. I'll talk to Jeff. I'll kind of firm up some of that stuff and see if he's up for it. See if he has a project for Thanksgiving. and then we can kick off. What should we do for December? I guess what would be a good December? Nothing rhymes with December. It's like you don't have an October or Thanksgiving. December's kind of boring. I guess we'll just celebrate Christmas and family. Maybe it should be we paint up units. We get a unit of dudes painted up to our models painted up for a unit for family stuff to represent our families for the holidays. I don't know. We'll figure something out. X-wing mass. X-wing mass. Yeah, it doesn't roll off the tongue, but I could make that work. But X-wing, I guess we could repaint X-wing. I don't know. We'll talk about it. We'll figure something out. We got a whole month to figure it out. All right, y'all. I am going to cut you loose. So I thank you all very much for Christmas Protocol. Oh, Marvel Crisis Protocol, Christmas Protocol. There you go. Let's paint a superhero. Get a Marvel Crisis Protocol model, and we'll paint it up for Christmas. And then we can hang it from our Christmas tree. And then there's the other thing we could do. I know Jonathan over at the GW store in Goodyear. I don't know if all the GW stores do this or not, but we could all paint a miniature up to hang on Jonathan's Christmas tree from the What's New with Mike and Jeff show. So if you guys, I'll talk to Jonathan, maybe see if he's doing the Christmas tree. I don't know with the protocols in place at his shop if they are going to do the Christmas tree or if they're going to do any of the Christmas celebration type stuff. So I don't know. We'll have to approach that one as we get a little bit closer to it. But that's another thought. We could all take a paint up just a random 40K or Age of Sigmar miniature and just take it, and then he hangs them on the Christmas tree and it decorates the Christmas tree for the store. It would just be a nice gesture to show support for the local shop. Anyways, guys, gals, thank you all very much for hanging out with me. Like I said, I have family in town. My father-in-law's in town, so we're all going to go hang out, go run around town and do some things. So I will be back Wednesday. We'll see more of it. Fine. I'll get it clear coded and get some photos up on Discord so that we can take a look at it and kind of critique it together, because I'm open to critique. I don't take critique as a negative in any way, shape, or form. I run with the feedback and try to improve with it. So I'll get some photos up. We'll get some feedback going. But to be honest with you, I'm like really content. There's a few things here and there, but I'm really content with how I created this. It's really dark and grimy at the bottom, and then it kind of brightens up as you go up towards the top, which is how it should be, because this thing should be massive on the table, and the bottom is like marching through everything, so it's all scraped up and scratched up and decayed. So anyways, thank you all very much. You all have a wonderful Saturday. The weather's supposed to be decent today, so go out and do some stuff. Go out and about and have a good time. So talk to you all later. Have a great week. Bye.